All right, I'm going to break some things down here, and I'm going to use my hand signal stuff because I can spell the letters out and move my hands pretty well with it. We're going to do D and the vowels with another D on the other side, because between a D, we could make a capital, which is like an I looking out, coming back, and in the center of a D would be what you're in line with on that 3-line bar graph. What's above you, what's below you, and you're here in the present moment, the center, and the center of the letter. So you're in the circle of a lowercase d, or you're in the center of the loop of and you're right here. So you are I. Think about that. That's why it's shaped that way. You're always an I. So of any letter, you're always I of any letter. In any word, you're always in the center of every word, every letter, every sentence, every paragraph. You're the center of it all in your own life. So with D-A-D, if we were talking in divine terminology, I use D as like in describing the definition, derived, do, those kind of things. So D-A-D, a good divine dad would be a dad that teaches what is already, D-A-D, described, already, done, things to someone else. Then you go into deed. If there's two E's, two of any letter upon themselves basically reflect upon themselves. And a D-E-E-D, put them upon themselves, put the two D's upon themselves. If somebody commits a deed, that's a deed, right? And if it's just D-E-D, you'd see dedicated, because the D-E-D closes that thing. D-E moves it, even a sideways E, because they're all facing that way in the direction of the capital. But in a lowercase, it rounds it off, and it's facing that way. So a D, one line starting the subject, or D, one line starting the subject, E or E, moving it that way, to another subject, stopping between these two lines. You're always in the center of the subject between the two lines. So the dedicated person is, he would die for what you're identifying, that they, C-A, can, plus, dedicate, plus, T, do, E-D, backwards. Is E is de, but ed is like when we put that at the end of a word, like worked, fasted, runded. Although we don't have a word like runded, but I'm just using anything with ed is finished. Fed up, even forward ed. I'm fed up with what this is going forth. You know, that's what ed. So then we move on to the next one, did. So did is defining identified definition, like I did that, or what it's derived from, identified, derived from, did, it. You know what I mean? That's right there. And it is just identified plus symbol, it, it. So then you go down to did, I mean, that's right there. D-O, you'd get D-O-O-D-L-E, doodle, because the dude, D-O-O, on top of itself. And what did you do otherwise on top of itself? You doodled. Another way to say when something is raw, it's at its purest form. If you don't put a divine female in between it, an odd vowel letter, you would have draw, D-R-A-W, because you don't D-E, feminine form, take away from raw. You, masculine form, draw. Get it? So raw doesn't go any raw. You can't get any rawer than raw. You can draw from raw, D-R. So you can derive from, or you can define. Next one. So we go from D-O-O, doodle, is something that you do. O-D-L-E, odal, an ode to something. An ode to this person is ongoing definition expressed. To that guy, I give an ode. So doodle, right there. And the L means it's lines. You're linearly doing something. You're literating it. L, okay? From L. So then we go on to D-U-D. You light a firework and you say, what a dud, D-U-D. Something that was already made, you did an action to it, and it doodled and fizzed out, dud. If it went up in the air and expressed itself, dude, that's awesome. And then after it's all done and it blew up the sky and the sky turned colors, and then it fizzled out, it D-Y-E, died, dying, D-Y. To take something from its form, that it was formed, and then changing it. So stop dyeing your hair. Stop dyeing your skin. It's not good for you. Whether you like the way it looks or not, it's not good for you. That wasn't what my topic was, but that's just a form of one word. I can do this with every word, every name, everything, and I'm not doing it because I'm a smart ass. I'm doing it because I want to make your ass smarter. Peace. Thank you.